Welcome to the Dog Expert Podcast, the podcast dogs would want you to listen to. Powered by canineprinciples.com, helping passionate dog people go from feeling unsure and overwhelmed to confident, compassionate and science savvy through a rich library of online courses and formal qualifications. Each week on the podcast, we dive deep into the real, raw and rewarding world of dogs. This isn't about obedience. This is about understanding. Because dogs aren't problems to solve. They're free-thinking, sentient beings to connect with.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Dog Expert Podcast. This week we are joined by the amazing Samantha Whalen from Samantha Whalen Dog Training, and we're going to be talking all about how to make a multi-dog household work and create harmony between the different personalities with the different dogs in the household. We very much add another dog into the household, hoping that it will be companionship for the dog or dogs already in the household and another family member for us to love and cherish. But things do not always work out as planned, and multi-dog life can bring as many challenges as it can joys, with lots of teething problems and different quirks along the way. So today we're going to be discussing how best to introduce a new dog into your household and how you can best support the dogs who are already in your household to accept the new dog without compromising any of the bonds between any of the beings in the house. So Samantha is over backstage, so I'm going to bring her on and we can get to know a bit more about her and what she has been up to, because she's been doing some exciting stuff with rescues abroad. So let me bring her in.
Hello. This is so fancy. I felt like I was in a little green room. Very fancy.
You were
Zoom, is it?
Did you meet any celebrities back there?
Just a few, yeah, there was a few, but I can't drop any names.
No. So, do you want to introduce yourself for anyone who hasn't had the pleasure of meeting you yet?
Yeah, so I'm Sam and I run Samantha Whalen Dog Training. The clue is in the title, not very original, I know. I apologise now, I am melting. So although I don't sound like I'm in Essex, I am based in Essex and we are having a mini heat wave. It is very, very hot here at the moment. So it's very warm. So I'm a bit sweaty. I also have 4 dogs of my own. So again, I apologise if there's any noises in the background, because I would love to say that they will all stay quiet for an hour, but they may not. They may not. So as I said, I'm based in Essex. I am a rescue specialist and I mostly work with overseas rescue dogs. So primarily dogs from Cyprus and Romania. And I do scent work classes, and I'm also a kids around dog professional.
Yay!
Had Debbie on last time. So I love Debbie.
Yeah, she's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So you many years ago, maybe not that long ago, not as many as me, got involved in the doggy world and decided that things needed to change in the way that we have traditionally done things with dogs, and things needed to be kinder and more inclusive. Can you share a bit more about how you got into the doggy world, particularly the rescue world?
So always been obsessed with dogs. For literally as long as I can remember. Growing up in Northern Ireland in the 1980s, there were stray dogs everywhere. So I loved it. I had a great time. I was always out with a dog here and there. As an adult, we started fostering probably, trying to think now, about 10, 11 years ago now. We started fostering overseas dogs initially because we weren't allowed to foster for any other rescue because I had younger kids. So I'd asked and I was told no when somebody mentioned overseas rescues, and I had a look and obviously my heart broke seeing all these poor little dogs in kill shelters and things in Romania. And that's how we got into fostering. My first few foster dogs, we were just sort of, a dog would arrive on your doorstep, and usually 3 o'clock in the morning, stinking. They would come in, and I would never hear from the rescue again. So I'd advertise the dog myself. I'd, do everything. I'd clean them. I'd bring them to the vet, all these sort of things. And looking back now, I did everything with the best intentions, but I genuinely had no idea what I was doing. And I think, were just very, very lucky. As time went on, the various rescues realised that I was still fostering. So if anyone has fostered before, once you've had a few, you tend to start getting the more difficult ones, and the more, because nobody else will take them. You're an experienced fosterer.
You get the sticky dogs.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Mm.
So we started getting those, and I very quickly realised as much as I love dogs, have no idea what I'm doing here. Absolutely no idea. So I started studying with Canine Principles to begin with. And yeah, just kept going, found my love for it, and have just sort of grown from there. And my love for the overseas dogs has just grown, because I think they're very misunderstood in the UK. I think a lot of people think they're just going to be the same as UK dogs. And yeah, they are. They're still dogs, but they definitely have their own quirks and their own behaviour traits that we're not used to in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're now studying your level 5 with the ISCP.
I know. Please don't. I am studying it. I promise. In between everything else, it is there.
Oh yeah. Oh, I completely hear you. I'm just applying for a master's myself, and yeah. But I will find time. It's crazy though, because I just love learning, and I'm such a geek, and it's something that I think is so important to keep developing and keep pushing ourselves to acquire more knowledge, because you never know everything, do you? And it's the more you learn, the more you can help more people and dogs, ultimately.
It is. And even in the last year, I have so much more knowledge than I had than 12 months ago, just from different conferences I've been to, or, we were both at PACT last year.
Yeah.
And just even little things there you pick up, and you're like, oh, that's a really interesting way of looking at things. And it just, I love it. I'm a bit of I'm a dog nerd.
Me too. Absolutely, through and through. And like you, I just remember as a child, just studying, devouring a dog breed book and trying to learn them all off by heart. It just fascinates me. Every single dog, they're just always through and through. So this evening we're going to be focusing on multi-dog households, and like you, I've got 4 dogs and foster as well, and it's not always peace, love and harmony. So I think, first of all, the thing that we should ask is, why do people add a second or a third dog into the mix? And there are lots of different reasons. What would you say is the most common one that you hear?
I think with rescue, a lot of the time it's because the first one has settled so well that they want to help another one. They want to help. There is a little bit of ego in it. You feel really good about yourself when you save another dog. I think the other thing is, you think, well, my dog would want another dog. And I have to say, I am a bit guilty of that, but I'm like, but they would like another one to play with, just to even up the numbers. And it's very easy to think, well, these ones are getting on great, we can just add in another one. But then you forget that just changes the dynamics of everything. And especially in rescue, well, actually not even just in rescue, even with the puppy, you don't know what you're going to get or how things are going to work out. So
and like with adding an extra brother or a sister into the mix of a family, there's going to be different energy levels, there's going to be different personalities, different communication styles. Some might struggle with resource sharing, some might struggle with decompressing when they've come in from rescue and the other dog not picking up on certain body language. There are so many different factors, and it's very much about recognizing the needs of the dog as an individual rather than looking at the dogs as a collective. So I think that it's important for us to just point out that dogs don't sort of coexist, they relate, and that communication through if for example one dog's been brought up with its mum and it's learnt to recognize mum's body language, another dog coming in that's got a docked tail, that dog's not necessarily going to recognize and understand the tail position of the dog with the docked tail, because it can't translate what's being said initially until they get to know each other better. I think the mistakes that we often see are kind of people who maybe initially gloss over that, and until there's a bigger problem and a sort of unmanaged conflict, if you like, that they don't realize that there is a potential for something to go wrong.
Yeah.
Do you think that before introducing a dog to a new home, there's anything that people could be thinking about?
Oh, definitely. I think there's so much management that needs to be put in place before dogs come, whether that's a rescue dog or a puppy. It makes no difference. If you've got another dog in the house, there needs to be management. For instance, with dogs coming over in like rescue dogs, overseas rescue dogs, I try and I do pre-arrival sessions, and I'm like, right, we're going to set up the house. We're going to have baby gates. We're going to have doors. We're going to have whatever we need to keep those dogs separate, so that it's not just straight into the house. Oh, hi, there's 3 other dogs here. For instance, my newest rescue, so he's been here 8 weeks, 7, 8 weeks. He didn't meet all of the dogs he met one of them about 2 days in, and then he met them all gradually. There's one of them at the minute that they've never been left to sort of play together. So my house at the minute, and I think lots of people who have reactive dogs will recognize this, there are baby gates, there are sort of play pens, the living room split down the middle, just to give everyone a break from each other. And it may look over the top to some people, but I would rather people prevent any issues from sort of arising and, take it slowly, than you have this huge, reaction because a dog's eating too close to another dog, or another one wants to play, but the other one wants to rest. And you've got this huge issue. And then you're starting, on a negative. You want to start up here, just to slowly work them up. And I think that is the hardest thing for the average adopter and the average sort of owner, really, to grasp that, yeah, it might be slow at the start, but it's worth it, and it's for a reason. So yeah, I think baby gates and playpens are a must.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's 2 things that came to my mind there. I try and remember them both, but I'm at a time in my life where sometimes it goes along there. The first was about maybe seeing if it's possible, and it's not always possible, particularly in rescue, but of getting some bedding or items of clothing or something that smells of the environment where the dog has been, and if possible where the dog has had a safe space, so they've got a positive association with it, and an item of your dog's, something that smells of your household. So you do a swap, so that the dog coming in can get used to the smell of the household, and vice versa, your dogs can get used to the smell of the dog coming in. Something else to think about as well is parallel walking, and maybe meeting outside of the home. Obviously, if it's a new puppy, then completely different, but if you're introducing a rescue, taking one of your calmer dogs along to do some parallel walking, so where you're never introducing the dogs head on, faced like coming in towards each other, where there's could be staring competitions and an eye contact that could intimidate, but you're walking along side by side at a safe distance, or a distance that the dog would perceive as safe, not you necessarily, but that the dog would perceive as safe, so that they're able to sniff and they're able to engage with the environment around them, and they don't feel pressure to interact with the other dog straight away. They're able to observe from a distance that they feel is safe. And there was another thing that I've forgotten. I knew I would.
That's the ideal, isn't it? Because ideally, even if you're adopting it, if it's from someone that from a dog that is already in foster in the UK, or they're in kennels in the UK, ideally you want to go and have 3-4 visits, and you get to meet that dog and build a bond before you leave. I think we see a lot of with overseas dogs. Obviously, the dogs arriving straight into a home, so you can't do the parallel walking because you're not allowed to take the dog out to begin with. So you can't do that side of it. You might have a dog that's never been on a lead, so you've got all these other factors that are then coming in that makes it even more difficult. So you can't do the scent swapping, for instance. But even with the dogs that are in the UK, you find if you're getting a puppy, a lot of people will do the scent swapping, or the puppy will come home with scent of the mum. But we don't. A lot of people don't seem to think to do the same with the older dogs. So if you're adopting from the kennels, they don't think to, oh, actually we could do this here as well. So it's something that we do more as a comfort, perhaps, a lot of guardians, rather than this will actually help the dog settle in. This is going to benefit the dog. It's not just to help them sleep better, which I think is what a lot of guardians of puppies would think that smell is for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've remembered the other thing I was going to say. It's not directly linked to introducing a new dog into the household, but thinking around how each dog is an individual and independent. We always make sure that our dogs, although we've got 4 dogs, we will do group walks now, but it's not always been like that. It's been at the dog's individual sort of paces, introducing that. So Chip, our last one, came 8-9 months ago, and for the first couple of months there was no way that a group walk would have been okay without taking her over threshold, whereas now that they do have a group walk a few times a week, but we're very careful that we also respect that each of them has got their own individual one-on-one time away from the rest of them. So dogs, obviously, like us, don't live forever, and there will come a time where one of them won't be around anymore, and we don't want the others to be codependent on each other. So we make sure that not only do we respect that each of them has their own time with us, but that they have their time away from each other in, so we'll have like maybe 3 and 1 or 2 and 2, and make sure that they've all got their own space, and that we know that what motivates each dog as an individual, because it's really important that they don't get lumped in with a sort of tarred with the same brushes as their furry siblings, and not sort of recognized as, actually, you do really love soft toys, or you really love squeaky toys, and you actually really enjoy chicken treats, whereas you love cheese ones. And it's
really common, isn't it, that some of us we're all guilty of it, I think, of thinking, well, dogs love this, we say that all the time, dogs love this. But if you go out, so say I was at Dog Fest a month ago, and there was like a Great Dane over here, and an Irish Wolfhound over here, and a little Chihuahua over here. Those dogs do not love the same things. Like you look at them, you're like, they don't even look remotely alike. So why would their enrichment or the things they love be the same things? So it is about sort of getting you to know your individual dog's needs and what they want. But yeah, the walks together eventually are amazing, aren't they? Those group walks, because they're learning together, they're bonding, because they're out sniffing together, they're doing stuff together, so that builds their bond. But obviously we need to focus on, at the start especially, our bond with them as well, more
one
so.
step at a time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really key, is the observations when a new dog is coming in, more so than ever, because you need to learn what is normal baseline relaxed behavior for that dog, the new dog coming in, because it will be different from your existing dog.
Yeah.
So you need to learn everything that you possibly can about that dog and study that dog, its ear position, its tail position, whether it's panting, its breath rate, because sometimes when a dog is, particularly when a dog's in learned helplessness, the only sign that you'll see that it's stressed, it will be an increase in its breath rate. But if you don't know what baseline normal is for that dog, you're not going to be able to pick up on that.
Absolutely. And
so
it'd be so good if we could get more guardians learning the basic body language. Like, for instance, one of my dogs, Sylvie, she's a Romanian Shepherd. When she came over, she was like the most helpless shut down dog I'd have ever met. But I had people who would come to the house, like, so my family, and they'd be like, "Oh, isn't she so good? She just lies there. She's so good." And I'm like, she's not being good. She's terrified. And like you said, to the someone who didn't know anything about her, she just looked like she was lying under the table, being very well behaved. But actually, if you looked closely, her nose was running a little bit. She was breathing, really short, fast, shallow breaths, and she didn't calm down for quite a while after. Even if someone had just popped in, or dropping something off and then leaving again, she would be like that for quite a while. But for everyone else, she looked like this very well behaved, quiet dog. And it's, I think that's something that I would love the guardians just to know more about body language before whether they get a puppy, a rescue dog, whatever, before that would be amazing.
Yeah, one of the things that sticks in my head is that you were saying a couple of weeks ago about one of your clients who literally just wants a call for you to translate what he's seen his dog doing. And I just thought that was amazing. If we could have more guardians like that, how awesome is that?
I've literally just got off a call to him, and he's just, I'm really lucky at the minute. I've got this little group of clients that are all, it's either just voice notes back and forth, right? They're doing this. What does this mean? What does, here's a video. What does that mean? And I've got some amazing clients at the minute, and it is just, they're just like, I'm like the translator in the middle of trying, but they learn so much, and it's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, that's just so heartwarming when in rescue you do see so many things that could destroy your faith in mankind, but it's things like that that really reassures and sort of restores it. So lovely. One thing that we haven't talked much about is enrichment, and how encouraging them to sniff and encouraging them to work with you to problem solve, and using their brains and their natural instincts, but doing things together to provide that enrichment, can really help to fast track building a solid bond with them. We were talking a little bit before when we were both backstage, we were talking a little bit about something that you've just introduced into your home for one of yours.
the ball pit, the infamous ball pit. Although I have to say, there is only one of my dogs that is interested in the ball pit. The other three, like we were saying earlier, the other three could not care less about. They will come over, they will take a ball out, and they will run off. That's it. That's their one enjoyment. The newest boy, he loves it. He charges straight in, but he's the only one that likes it. Yeah, we do a lot of, I'm a UK sniffer dog instructor, so I do a lot of scent work with my dogs, especially in this weather. Although Bodhi, one of my Romanians, he's not a fan of other dogs sort of jumping around him, and we will split the room and do scent work. So either side, so they're together, they can see each other. He feels safe that there's a bit of a barrier there, and they'll do scent work either side, which is, they love it, and it does definitely build that bond where they're so focused on that, and they can see the other one. They're like, oh yeah, no, they're sniffing too. That's cool.
Brilliant.
A colleague of mine and a friend, Sarah Davis, so she better be watching because I'm name dropping her here. She's a trainer as well. She's done some fantastic videos with her newest Mally and her fearful German Shepherd Mavis, where she did some parallel like sniffing exercises with them, like licky mats and then snuffle mats, and either side of baby gates. And she's done some fantastic work with them, and you could see like the difference that makes, that they're safe and they feel safe because there's the barrier, but they're able to see each other and they're still working together, so they're still getting that bond by doing it at the same time, which is, it's brilliant.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. No, that thought's gone as well. Oh, it's so funny. Like, I thought as a woman that I'd kind of gone through all the different phases and I was just coasting now, but really not. Just complete brain tumbleweed sometimes. So one of the things that I love doing is just letting my dogs be and just being with them and being present. It could be that I'm just sitting reading a book. It could be that I'm watching them but not making eye contact and staring them out, just observing. And it could be I'm just sat eating a sandwich or something, but just being present with them means that there's no pressure on them and they can actually just be themselves. And many of the dogs that come into rescue have been in a situation where they've had no agency, they've had no control over the outcome of what's happening to them. So to be able to look at how we can give them as many choices as possible in a controlled, safe way, but so that the dog is able to choose, whether that's choosing to interact with you, whether that's choosing which toy they want to play with, whether that's just choosing where they sleep. But to be able to offer them choices is another really cool way that we can support them in integrating them into our home as peacefully as possible, because they feel then that they've got some sort of control over their lives, and it helps to build that self-confidence and promote their overall emotional safety and well-being, which is ultimately where we all want to be, with emotional safety and physical safety, not just physically safe. So would you have any top tips for anyone watching on how they could introduce a little bit more choice into their dogs' lives?
So we were talking earlier, weren't we, about Tilly's Farm?
Yes.
And I love free work. I absolutely love free work. So for anyone that's watching that doesn't know what free work is, absolutely look it up because it's amazing. So it is just all about letting the dog decide what they want to do. So you have things everywhere. You might have your snuffle mat and your ball pit. That is another thing that I do use the ball pit for. So it does have uses. I tell my other half, it's got more than one use. Things all over, but it does. You get to see them what your dog does prefer, because you're not leading them. They're not on a lead. They're not being coerced to do anything. They're deciding what to do. And I think just anything that you're just letting your dog make those little choices, like you said, with beds. Do they want to come over? Do they want to be stroked? Yeah, they might do for a couple of seconds, and then you stop. So you let them walk away again. If they, that little stroke for a little second, stop again. If they walk away, brilliant. If they stay, fantastic, carry on. Anything like that is just massive. And I find it sounds so, they sound like such small little things to do at the start, but they make huge differences.
Yeah.
Like if, for instance, if you're working with rescue dogs, treat and retreat. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it sounds so small, but it's huge. And even with shelter dogs, I will do it a lot, and it works. They then are like, well, I can come over because at any time I can go, and nothing is going to happen. And it's massive. And you see those big confidence things, you know, like when you start wanting to take them on a walk. Do they want to go on a walk? Brilliant. Okay, we'll do that. Do you want to go left into the woods, or do you want to go right around the fields? Letting them decide. Yeah, you can't do it all the time, but you know, you can do it a lot of the time, because does it matter to us if we go into the woods around the fields? Not really. But it might be huge for them. And then when they're finished, they want to go home. That's fine. We can turn right and we can go now. And just tweaking just little bits like that. Yeah, it's huge for confidence.
The internal shifts for the dog are incredible.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, someone's just commented about that they love free work too. It's amazing. Lola is so much more independent and confident, and I just find that a bit freaky, because I was literally saying to Sam before we came on air about my dog Lola, who I used to take to Tilly Farm. So how cool is that? It's obviously Lola's love Tilly Farm.
Yes, they do. They love it.
So I've remembered my tumbleweed moment now. Yay. The thing when a new dog comes into the home that we see so often is we get a rush of oxytocin, and we are super loved up and over the moon, and we know that that dog is safe now. That dog does not know it's safe yet. That dog doesn't know that it's not a captive. It doesn't know that it's got choice and that it will be loved and have security. All it knows is that its whole world has been tipped on its head. Everything familiar has disappeared, and suddenly it's with these people who speak differently, move differently, and may as well be from an alien planet. Because of that oxytocin and the love that guardians are feeling, they want all of their loved ones to feel the same love, and they want to show everyone how amazing their gorgeous new dog is. And they may invite the family round, or they may take the dog round to the family, or they may take the dog to the park to meet the family or the friends, and that breaches the emotional safety trust bond that you're trying to build. That whole safety and the trust bond between you and the new dog, it's going to set it way back. And what we actually want to be doing is not walking the dog to start with, not taking the dog out to start with, and working on it feeling safe and knowing that it can trust you to make decisions that will not only keep it safe, but keep you safe and keep everyone in the household safe. And once you've built those firm foundations, then you can move on to starting to do some of the more enrichment activities that you've been working on in the home outside, and start building up gradually to some more generalization with them. But initially, we really want to work on supporting them in feeling safe and knowing that they can trust you to make important decisions that could be life-threatening as far as they're concerned. The other points that I just wanted to make were around the ones that I bang on about all the time, the silent behavioural triggers, which are sleep, nutrition, and pain. So making sure that the dog is getting enough remedial sleep, it's got a space that it can go to, that it's able to just chill and lie out flat and really get deep sleep. It's crazy how many dogs don't get enough sleep. And you know, we all know how ratty we can get when we haven't had enough sleep, and the effect on our cognitive function, and it just has this massive ripple effect, doesn't it? The second thing is around nutrition. I mean, if you feed a child or an adult, I mean, there's even a film out there of someone who ate McDonald's for can't remember how many days straight. Can you remember what it's called? I can't remember what it's called now.
No, it's on Netflix, I think, isn't it? I can't
Yeah.
remember. No, I've seen it though.
But the effect on the body, the effect on the mind is just really scary, and so quickly. So making sure that our dogs are having a good nutritional foundation to support their cognitive function and support their overall well-being, but also to reduce any anxiety through good nutrition as well, and make sure that they're getting the nutrients that they need. If in doubt, head over to the Ethical Dog Training with Canine Principles Facebook group and pop a post in there, because a lot of the companies that provide dog food who maybe have bigger marketing budgets don't necessarily provide the nutritional value that you would expect. So if in doubt on what you're feeding, pop over and pop a post in there, and we'll support you in finding good food choices for your dogs. And the other one, pain. Dental pain I see getting missed so often. Dogs with cavities in their teeth. If you've ever had a hole in your tooth, you know, if you get your whole head hurts, it affects everything. So making sure that the dogs are pain-free, and knowing that if you've got a dog that is vulnerable, it's not feeling emotionally safe because of whatever's happened, you don't have to take the dog into the veterinary practice. You can have the dog in your vehicle outside, and you can go into the receptionist and say, I've got a rescue dog in the car, not at all comfortable coming in. Because even if there are no dogs in the waiting room, they'll pick up on the smells and the fear of the dogs that are being waiting for surgery. So the vet can come out to the dog in the vehicle. You can do that in a safe way. Have I missed anything, Sam? Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think that the safe space is like an area for them to sleep is huge. And I think it is, we have access to everything, don't we? I was talking to some other trainers this morning. We really live in this sort of immediate gratification society where we can have everything now. I want to watch a movie, I can watch it right now. I want to have something to eat, I can have it delivered to my door. You know, we have everything now. So I think we do struggle with taking it slowly and with just waiting for, you know, for the dogs to be ready, because we see these movies and we want that Disney moment of, you know, I've got this, look how happy he is because I've saved him. And like you said, even with puppies, they have no idea they're going to a home. They just know that they've been taken from their mum and they've been taken from their siblings, and they have no idea, you know, put in this noisy car. They have no idea what is happening. And I think we just expect them to know, but you're safe now. But they, you know, they have no idea. So it is, if we try to imagine that we are taken, we're put in a box, we're put in a noisy aircraft for, you know, 24 hours, 30 hours, you know, the dogs from Romania, they're in a bus for 3 days. You know, you don't know where you're going, you're let out and the people are, you know, saying stuff to you, but you don't know what they're saying, and they're looming over you and you're like, well, I don't know what you're doing. It would be terrifying. And I know that even for me, when I travel to Cyprus, when I come back, I just want to be left alone for a bit. I'm exhausted and I know what I'm doing. So for them, that they don't know what is happening. They just need to have, you know, have that sleep. And yet they might sleep for 12 hours. They might sleep for a whole day. They might bounce off the walls and then sleep for 2 days afterwards. And, you know, all those options are okay. We just have to go and sort of, you know, go at their pace and see what it is that they need from us. I mean, you know, we know what I'm like. I talk about letting dogs, you know, go slowly. But my newest one, when he arrived, slept here for the first, and I was like, this is not what I'm normally recommending. Give them space. And my newest one was like, absolutely no, thank you. I would rather stay right here. And so I did what he needed. He needed me to be next to him. So I was next to him. And I wasn't with any of my others. They all had space. But yeah, it's just about going at that individual dog space. And if you think you're going slowly, you probably need to go a little bit slower.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, amazing tips. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
If anyone watching wants to get in touch, what's the best way for them to reach you?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Samantha Wen Dog Training. My website is the same. So any of those. Rescue-wise, we have a brilliant page called the Rescue Dog Care Network, which is a page for anyone that has adopted from anywhere in the world, or fosterers or rescues that want a bit more information, any of the above. It's very welcoming community. There's no judgment at all there. It's a really nice space. So you can always pop over there as well if you've got questions.
Fantastic. Oh, and there's also a wonderful podcast that you co-host as well.
Yes, I do, with the fantastic Colin Spence, who is just one of the most amazing humans there is. It's called Dogs Do Speak on YouTube, and we've had you on. We've had some fantastic people on. We've had some great people. We've got Andrew Hale on our most recent episode, so that'll be up soon as well. So yeah, we've had some great ones. So if you ever want to delve a little bit deeper, Dogs Do Speak on YouTube. There are some good ones. Just ignore the front covers because it's usually me pulling a face because YouTube likes to just screen grab me for some reason. But,
the thumbnails. Brilliant. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you on next week's episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Dog Expert podcast, the podcast dogs would want you to listen to. If you've enjoyed this episode, do come and let us know in our free Facebook group for dog lovers everywhere, Ethical Dog Training with Canine Principles. That way we can make more content like this that you'll love. We would love for you to leave a review on here and hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode.